Thank you, Angel, and Heidi ho, everyone. Welcome aboard. It is Thursday already. How do we get there? Do I say that every Thursday? Probably do. Well, I don't know. I still don't know the answer. That's why. It just happens so fast. Glad you could join us for the last TT. What? Trading Buddies of the week. So many shows. Yes, Trading Buddies. It is the last show of the week, and of course, it is quiz day. So I hope you've got your brains in gear and your memory more than anything else, because most of these questions will have been part of the show throughout the week. That's why I'm no good at it. I can't remember. How would I remember what I say? Not true. I can remember some things, but this old age shit is no fun, I can assure you. Anyway, let's get on with things, shall we? First up, of course, are we going to trade a breakout on the pound today? Pound came back, guys, yesterday, as I'm sure you all know, and took our trailing stops on most of the trades that we were in, all positive, of course, so no drama, but would like to have got a little bit more out of them. I would have to confess the only pound trade that I'm still in is pound CAD from whatever that was ago, in the short, still in the short side of pound CAD. Do we trade a range today, guys? That's the question. Hourly chart tells me that yesterday we broke free, and we got into that trade, by the way. I've since closed that at break even, basically. Didn't get a TP1, so I just moved my stops to entry, and I'm now out of that breakout trade as well. So again, no damage, but no glory either, which is well, it's most glory. We just want some money in the bank, right? So today, yes, we're in a range today, but we're getting lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower high based on that one. So we've potentially gone into trend, which means that we are not going to trade a range break today. Although, if you were, and this is the old way we used to do it, to trade the breakout of that area, yeah, dangerous entry for the short, for the long rather. A little bit of room to the weekly pivot for the short, but let's get rid of this so we don't get confused. There we go, that's gone. So no breakout trade for me today. And what am I expecting on the pound today? Good question. As the dollar had a little bit of a rally. Actually, I haven't had a look. I can't show you the dollar index on this screen, but I can certainly have a look at it on my other account. Yeah, it's kind of here, there, and everywhere. I've got a high test bar, low test bar on the dollar index on the weekly chart. The daily chart, let me have a quick look at that. Again, sorry I can't share it with you, but you've probably got your own version of it. Daily chart is telling me that we're doing absolutely nothing. I've got, pardon me, well, some might say a train track reversal on the daily chart. I don't really see it that way, but maybe that's the case. I do see that we've broken short and retested that level. That's what I see. I don't see the train track reversal, but you know, it is what it is. So the pound versus the US dollar, I'm still bearish the US dollar. But I do concede that there is a market sentiment around the place that would suggest there is potentially going to be a little bit more dollar buying. Rumor, don't know. Good Thursday to you too, Paul P. Look, impossible for me to go long here, of course, on the pound, certainly on the daily chart. But I do see this. But does that trump this, which is a pretty clear double top forming here? I would find it very, very difficult to buy right now. Hi, Subra. Very, very difficult to buy. Although we do have a potential ABC, too difficult, too risky to trade into that. But do I want to trade short? Well, we've got a double top here. So let's play with that a little bit and see what we can come up with. I'd like to see a false break in here somewhere, maybe on an, pardon me, on an hourly chart. Well, it's kind of there, but it's very, very sloppy. You can see where I'm going with that. So we've had the break and now we've had the retest. Interesting, but not compelling. What does that look like on a 4-hour time frame? It should look pretty neat, but, or much neater, but no trade line here. There's no high here to join. So it's really only an intraday trade line on an hourly chart or a 30-minute chart. Yeah, look, I'm biased to the downside here, pound US dollar, but not sure how I would get into it anytime soon. Let me see. We've got to get rid of that. And probably a break of support is the only way clear that I can see. So maybe a rally up to here. I'm talking a lot later in the day, aren't I? So I don't think I've got a lot of interest in it, guys, at this point. Bounce up to there, maybe. Not for me. Anyway, no breakout trade. As I said, we will keep our powder dry on that one and look elsewhere. I'm going to have a good look at euro dollar. And the reason I want to have a look at euro dollar, look at that. Isn't it easy to see when it happens, eh? Bang, to the pip almost. And then whoosh, away she went. So false break, went deep into the daily pivot, bounced off the daily pivot, went back to the high, and then bang. What caused it all? I have no idea. That was yesterday. This is today. Could we have traded that? 4-hour chart, maybe? Not really. She's tough. Anyway, today, we're into today, not yesterday. Let me talk about today. Bias. Where's our bias, guys, on the euro? Be the similar to the pound because I'm a dollar bear. It confuses me a little. So this could actually bounce off this level and go. Not a fan of that. Our edge is gone for the day. What's our edge? Our edge is an untested daily pivot. So that's gone. We can't use that. Well, we can use it, but we can't use it as an untest and therefore a direction finder. That's interesting also. Break of that resistance trade line. Back, now retesting it, suggesting that there may well be some more upside here. Wow. Can we trade it? Let's go a little bit wider. And we're still in, so well, we're just trying to get out of that channel, aren't we? Yeah, look, I think my bias still has to be short. We've got strong level that we're actually coming off on the weekly chart. Yeah, look, I'm still short biased this, so that does give the dollar the chance, I suppose, of continuing in a little bit of a bullish fashion. Yesterday's bar was bullish, maybe a bullish engulfing bar, maybe train tracks reversal for you guys. It kind of tends to push this down, doesn't it? But I don't see any way I can trade that at the moment. But we'll keep our eye on it. So I'm a euro bear. Should we have a look at some of the trades that we've got left in the market? I suppose that's a good idea. Pound CAD, as I said, the pound CAD trade that we took earlier this week, I'm out at break even, as I said before. And the longer term, which I haven't got the parameters for, and I've got no idea when we got into this, but it's back here somewhere, obviously. That's still in the market. And let me see if I can find that entry. It's a daily chart. More than likely I traded on the daily chart. Off there maybe. Key reversal. second key inside bar. That's probably it. But I can't remember, honestly. That's 3 or 4 weeks ago now. Anyway, we have profit in the bank. We are trailing the stops, and I'm going to leave the stop there above the monthly pivot until it comes time to change that. Ash has just come into the room. G'day, bud.
Hello, mate. How's things going?
Yeah, okay. I'm a little bit Q in the rackish, I've got to say. It's been a busy week. I'm not that keen to get back into the market or to get into the market again. But, never say never. I'm just having a look at this Aussie yen, which my trade now, of course, we took profit overnight on my trade. Yeah. And it's did exactly as you would anticipate that it would. And that is bounced off the monthly pivot. It's now time for the daily pivot to do its job and drive it back down, eh?
Yes, hopefully. Let's see what happens there. Yeah, I mean, interesting day yesterday, and somebody's asking about, would I get into Bitcoin? Now it's down at 40,000. Well, I did get in. I got a much better price than that in the end because there was genuine blood on the street. So I've bought some Bitcoin. I suspect things are coming lower. Now I say I bought Bitcoin. I've participated in Bitcoin with the share that I always talk about, Argo blockchain. I managed to get those guys, and I got a really good price. I'm really happy with that. But I suspect there might be a little bit lower, but you never know. I think it's worth coming back to that in a moment. I have potentially got a trade on the FTSE, and
well, let's go there, mate.
Yeah, let's go there. Now, this probably will surprise people to say that that I'm looking for a long in the FTSE. So what I won't do today is get burned like I did the other day by trading this too high.
G'day, Lewis. G'day, Jira.
Because
I'm having a look at that now, Jira. I'll come back to
it. Good morning, Lewis, and good morning, Jira too. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm looking for a FTSE long now. Where I'd like to get in long, because what I'm seeing here is, if we look at this on a hourly, what we see here is the weekly pivot and the daily pivot down here. What I'd like to see is this just retrace down to the daily pivot. And if it can get down here, what I'm looking for is really a bounce between possibly the two pivots. I mean, I think this area here is looking like relatively obvious resistance when you look at the hourly, but when you look at the 4 hourly, this is where the resistance level is. So I'm not looking for a lot. I'm not by any stretch suggesting that the FTSE 100 is in an uptrend and we should be trading it long. All I'm saying is that I don't think we're breaking down today. So I'm going to put in an order at 59.54 for my first position. And let's see what we got there. So let's do that. And I'll probably stick stops. Well, let me just see where I will stick stops. Maybe 30 down. Yeah, I'll try and aim for around about a. Let's put this in first of all, and remember that my stop loss will always be a soft stop loss. So I'm going to buy limit, and I'm going to buy it 69.54, maybe 55 might be wise. Let me just see what price of the pivots. Oh no, 54 should be all right. No, let's go 55. Let me see where that looks like. Yeah, that looks good actually. So I've put in a position at 69.55, mate, for the long on the FTSE. And as I say, all I'm looking really for is for one more bounce, and the reason for behind this is that now the price might stop here at 66. It's possible, but let's just see. I'm not adverse to 66. My slight issue is that it's not the best. It's not the best price down there, and I think there's a good chance we get that lower level. If I can come down just a bit more, yeah, you can see there's a little bit of support here. and that might be the support of the day. And as I say, I'm not adverse to buying here, and I suppose because I think it's going up there, then it might be sensible to try and buy in here. What I don't want to do is get caught in the same situation as I did the other day. Let me just check one little trend line here. Yeah, I mean that just looks like the most obvious price. I'm going to stick with it, mate. This might well be the support level. You can see there's a little bit of support over here and here, so this might well be the support level for the FTSE for the long. That might be as much as it's going to get, but this looks more obvious to me. And I can show you a few reasons why I think that's obvious. The daily pivot is the first point of call. This little a breakout point as well. Now it's difficult because you've got all these little tails up here. So I suppose you could argue that that's the resistance level there that it had to break through, but I don't think it is that. I'm using the closing prices here, and this is completely subjective. So I wouldn't suggest that that this is absolute by any stretch. But the fib, when I bring this up, this is only a 23% retracement. I don't like that. The 38% retracement is just more palatable to me, because I think that there's a potentially a 50% retracement on, and because we are in a downtrend, I think it's got a decent chance of coming down. So I'm aiming for that lower price, and as I say, profits are going to be taken probably at the first point of contact at these highs here. But I might see if there's possibly a little bit more to the weekly pivot, but I probably won't mess around with that because we are counter trend trading when it comes down to the longer term time frames now. So yeah, that's the trade on here. Now, the reason behind this is Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, all of them right across the board had a decent bounce after an absolute bloodbath of a period yesterday. And it might have been down to an Elon Musk tweet. That's what a lot of people are suggesting. And it's really interesting. If it was down to that, then it kind of starts wiping away the kind of reasons to follow technical analysis, because the technical point for a lot of these cryptocurrencies was a bounce area, and sure enough, it did bounce in those, but it has bounced in those particular areas. So I think that the technical case was certainly there. Do you need a fundamental driver every time? Probably not, because the reason that there's a technical case there is that we know that there's a chance that there are orders sat there, and I suspect that's probably why it bounced where it did. The interesting thing I think about all this, and this is why I think this is getting a bit dangerous, and even though I'm looking for a long or the short term, I think this is getting dangerous, is that it seems to me that the reason that we are coming down on the markets and Bitcoin, let's just talk about that for now, is because of this inflation picture. Now Bitcoin has been hailed as digital gold, and we've seen gold move higher, and as it should, as the inflation picture plays out to the upside, showing that that we are, getting stretched on numbers higher, then gold should get a boost. It should go higher. Now, Bitcoin hasn't done that. So regardless of what's brought it down, whether it's China, whether it's Tesla, or Elon Musk, or whatever it is not getting the inflation bounce that if it was digital gold, that it should do. So that's the first thing to note down. Now, the second thing that kind of brings to play is the fact that the kind of obvious, in my opinion anyway, that the obvious conclusion is that cryptocurrencies are more speculative, more of a speculation trade, and if we lump Bitcoin into that as well, and what we've seen at the start of the year is that speculation and the bull run starting.
And that's fairly typical of something that doesn't have an asset backing it, right? Yes, absolutely.
It's pure speculation. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is absolutely. It's pure speculation. And also, if we think about the story of how liquidity came into the market, I think we're of the understanding, whether we're right or we're wrong is difficult to know. But I think we're both of the understanding and of the opinion that a lot of the run to the upside with cryptocurrencies was that people were taking their checks that they were getting from the US government and spending them on cryptos, i.e.
Well, it was a bet to nothing, really, wasn't it? They didn't have the money in the first place, so
Absolutely,
you
absolutely.
might as well give it a fly, turn it into
Yeah,
something better
so
than it was. Yeah.
so I suppose that the key is that the liquidity that was created by the Fed was enabling people to go out and spend their checks on buying speculative assets. Now, overnight, we've just had a hint that there might well be some taper talk from the Fed. And that starts to drive us towards the fact that the liquidity won't be quite as readily available. Now, unemployment numbers today are going to be pivotal, because if unemployment numbers today it is today, isn't it? I'm correct in saying that. I'm pretty sure I did.
That's a very good question. I haven't even looked at Forex Factory.
Let me just make sure that is correct, because I'm pretty sure it was.
Naughty me, by the way. I should be looking at Forex Factory.
Yeah, do you know, mate? Sometimes it's the last thing on my list as well, and I've got so many tabs that run along my
Yeah, I think
screen.
it depends on my intention for the day. If I intend to trade
Yeah.
on the small time frames, then I'll look at it for sure. But
Yeah.
if I don't, then it really doesn't make any difference to me.
Yeah. Well, we got unemployment claims out of 130. So that number is going to be quite pivotal, because if that number comes in hot, then I think the kind of taper talk is going to have more weight, and there's probably going to be more. Oh, here we go. Let's see if we can get into this trade. There's probably going to be more speculation that we go higher on the dollar, and lower potentially then on stocks. And if stocks are getting hammered because that there's a lack of money potentially going to be floating around, that also is going to do the same thing to the crypto market. So I personally think that the knives are probably out now. Don't get me wrong, I haven't bought shares in a company that produces Bitcoin because I think it's going higher necessarily. Yet the reason I've bought it is that the opportunity is probably too good to pass up, and this is all about speculation. And I am speculating that we are going to have cryptos around for some time. So the only way that I can really participate in that is by buying them. Now, that doesn't mean that I think that they are going to be under pressure in the near term, because I think they probably are. But it just means that I'm taking a stand, and I'm saying, look, this is the way that I'm going to participate, and I'm going to make sure that I don't back to the same word as always, I don't over leverage myself in that area. It's just a kind of broad picture for me, mate. I've bought some gold.
I know exactly what you're saying. Sometimes there are opportunities that come along in the markets that don't come along too often. And what you're describing is one of those times to me where there's a quantum shift about to take place. Now, what you can speculate all you like as far as talk is concerned, but to actually imagine, as you have, and I've got absolutely no argument that cryptocurrencies are going to be a thing, and maybe the thing. And if they're the thing, then now is definitely like, so was 3 years ago, so was 5 years ago. But now is now, and if you believe that that's the case, then absolutely it's worth speculating. Absolutely no problem.
Yeah, and it is, as I say, everything is even this FTSE long is obvious speculation, because the markets are coming down, and we have seen yesterday's trounce really hurt some global equities, and as I say, it probably will continue. Now, I've got I suppose one good thing about I quite like trading the FTSE long at the minute, because and I'm more likely to trade it long because I've got that Aussie yen trade sat in the background, so it's kind of acting quite nicely as a hedge against anything that I do to the upside with equities, and it's becoming quite a useful tool. But yeah, that's where I'm at with things anyway, mate. I think the crypto market is going to be under further pressure. Personally, I think that the lack of liquidity that might end up being quite pushed through with taper talk and possible interest rate hikes. Maybe that's a little bit premature, but certainly taper talk. I think that's going to put the crypto market under pressure, and I think we might end up going into a range. And I think that the expectation that people have is that cryptos are just going to go up and up, down and down, up and up, down and down. Well, it might not do that. It might kind of like hit a new range for a little while. And possibly come down a little bit further again before it really starts to rocket to the upside, because things are a little bit negative, when it comes down to the stories with cryptos at the minute. I mean, I don't like the fact that Elon Musk can tweet something and it changes it, but I think more fundamentally, the Chinese government are after the crypto market right now, and it won't be long before other governments will be probably stating something that talks up their own digital currency and tries to enable them to enter the market in that way. So I think that there's a bit of a rocky road ahead, but I still believe in the overall story for cryptos.
Yep.
So we'll see.
My son is heavily into researching the technology, right, behind these things, and he just keeps buying it every time it dips. He's the same.
Yeah. I think it's okay, isn't it?
I'll hit him up for a loan when it goes to 330,000.
Well, I think that I think there's a way to play it as well, mate, where you can buy the stuff but keep yourself safe, and I think Shukri has kind of shown that, and he seems to go out and to my knowledge, I think he goes out and buys Tether, which is back to the dollar, which pays 10% in interest, and I think he gets better than that, but the places I use, it pays 10% in interest, so you can really balance yourself up as well, and you can still protect your capital, but obviously it's a slower road. And maybe the problem with cryptos is that it's full of people that want to make money fast, and I don't say that to be disparaging of those guys, because I've been there myself when I was starting my career. I thought it was, that the whole way to get into the markets and trading was a way to make a fast buck. But over time, you kind of
I think we all do, isn't it? I mean, we're sold that when we start.
Yes,
that's how it's sold to us at the end of the day.
Yeah. And it's interesting because actually you do make a fast buck eventually, because of compounding. But it sort of has to go like that first, and then you start to kind of get the exponential curve. But much later in your kind of investment journey, I think. But and obviously some people have become crypto millionaires overnight. But I think that it's probably ended up confusing them rather than helping them.
Yeah, look, I'm sure you guys in 12 or 18 months' time will be talking to me. See, I told you so. I told you so. But it's just something for me that I don't understand, and therefore I can't be involved in it. Except, sorry, that's not true. Except to say that I'm happy for people to manage my money and trade it, which is pretty much what I'm doing. So I don't want to know about it, but there.
Yeah.
Tell me when I'm rich.
Yeah. Well, what's the statistic is that the best investors are widowers, and I think it's dead people.
I'm not a widower, but I would like to have been at some stage.
Oh, so maybe widows.
That's a terrible thing to say, isn't it?
Widows and dead people, and the reason for that is because they leave their investments alone. Widows. A lot of those, those people that were in that statistic were women that had left all the investing to their husbands. And obviously dead people can't touch their investments anymore. So the people that leave the stuff alone are the ones that end up being statistically the best off. Now, that doesn't mean that it'll work for everybody, because you've still got to pick the right markets. But I think over time, it's kind of been proven that, well, Warren Buffett's proved it, isn't he? If you buy and hold something, then over time, you're probably going to be okay.
Well, stock market, yes. Anything involved in equities, because it just keeps making high highs. Always has done.
Yeah.
Always has done. Now, I didn't tell you about a trade that I took this morning, so I better do that.
Yeah, let's do that, mate. Let's get around the grounds.
Not that it's likely to trigger, I must say.
We've got
But
5 minutes before the quiz. I hope you've been sharpening
yeah,
up your.
look, I've got an appointment in about 5 minutes' time, so I might have to might have to leave.
Okay, mate.
Just kidding. No, I'm just
Uh,
kidding. So there's the only trade, guys, that I haven't told you about, I believe. It's Euro Pound on the daily chart. Now, this is an interesting one because Euro Pound is so difficult to pick at the moment, has been pretty much for the last 12 months. Well, not 12 months, all of this year anyway, because it just keeps doing these sorts of things. But now, I actually like the fact if I could turn that into a line chart. How do I do that? Top here
you go up
somewhere.
to your go to the top of your screen, mate.
Oh, here we are. Here we are.
Yep.
There. That's what I like so much about this. This level here, which you can see has been a very strong resistance level and support level and support level. We've got back underneath it again, and it looks to me like that's going to provide resistance. We've got the monthly pivot and the weekly pivot there as well. I never use line charts, but I should because they're very, very clear, aren't they?
Yeah.
They can point out things that you may not see when you're looking at candles. So to me, this is a sell in this vicinity. And that's why I've chosen, as I have done. Oh, I better go back to candle. So,
well, they're just the close prices, aren't they? The line chart.
are they?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just the closing prices.
Right. Well, there you go. I don't know
Yep.
what they are, but they do make things quite clear.
Mm.
And that bar there, as you all know, or you all should know if you've been here for some time, is a bar that I do like to trade because it is a high test bar and it's got a white body. And it's across the monthly pivot, it's across the weekly pivot. And if you want to just go to the nth degree, it's across today's daily pivot. So the entry is below the bar, obviously, stop loss above it. And I'm taking profit around about here somewhere, I think, 85.91. And then we'll just get safe in the market. And if we get this right, we should be able to get down to here somewhere. So that'll be what, a couple of hundred pips for not too much in terms of risk. Can it go lower? Of course it can. Would I be backing that? Probably not. It's a pretty strong level through here. So most of me or most of my position will be out at that point, I should imagine. We shall see. After all, this is pretty much a rangy pair until it moves. And when it moves, it just goes kabang, as you can see, kabang, and kabang down the other side. So let's see how that pans out. Look, I really think that's the only trade that you guys don't know about that I've got at the moment. Everything else is very, very much intact and has been for some days, apart from, of course, the Aussie yen that we got into yesterday. As I said, that hit TP1. We're safe in the market on that, and we're waiting for the daily pivot to do its job now.
I'd say the other one, mate. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you've got any dollar trades on, but I think the dollar's starting to look really interesting as well. I mean, obviously we've come down to some levels, but where the picture's starting to also unfold for the dollar again is back to that tapering. But those unemployment numbers today, I think, are going to be quite key. I mean, they're only an orange folder, which I find a bit surprising. But if they come up positive, if they come out positive and they come out of the beat, then I think it's going to drive the dollar today. And
yep. Look, I don't, but there were two possibilities this morning, and here's one of them. It was dollar Sing.
Oh, okay.
And dollar Sing is a key reversal bar.
Yeah.
Now, am I going to put an entry there and a stop loss there? No, because of the horizontal level that we are approaching. So that just doesn't make any sense to me at all. But that said, if I can find a way in down here, then maybe that's worthy of our attention or my attention. That said, again, gee whiz, I find it very, very difficult to trade the dollar long. Very, very difficult. But it's there, as was dollar yen. Dollar yen was, in fact, dollar yen was better. Dollar yen was a big key reversal bar. And I did entertain this, actually. Long there, stop loss there or there, either way. This has far better prospects for me than does dollar sing. But when I look at this the other way, I can also see a very clear false break of all of that resistance there. So we've gone through the weekly pivot, we've gone through the monthly pivot, we hit resistance, we came straight back off it, consolidated above the monthly pivot, shot back below it, shot back below the weekly pivot, and now we've retested that area. So, the slingshot trader in me says that I need to put a short there and a stop loss there. So maybe if you want me to be bold and entertain an OCO there, I could probably do that, but I'm not so inclined. And the reason I'm not is the aforementioned pivots are very, very close together. Monthly, weekly, daily. Now, when I see that, and this has been changing, dailies above, dailies below, dailies above, dailies below, monthly and weekly obviously going to stay there until the end of the month, and with the weekly, the end of the week. But when I see that, it's telling me what is happening. And what is happening here is very clear. We're in range. And I'm at the bottom of the range if I go short here, and I'm trading into the top of the range if I go long. Not so much the top of that bar up here, but consider that the range is there. And maybe there, right? That's the tight current range that we're in. I don't see a way through there that's safe for me. I really don't. So it's a breakout trade at the end of the day, but I'm seeing two different things. The key reversal with this bar, but that bar also tells me that we've got a clear false break of not only the trade line, but also those pivots. And that kind of scares me. I don't, like I said from the start, I don't know if I'm willing to play their game today. It looks to me like we've got our money in the bank for the week. Why should we play with it?
I think
that's a speculator like that.
More than fair approach. As you say, with cash in the bank already, then there's sometimes there's just no reason to trade, is there? And if there isn't, then keep the queue in the rack. I think is probably the best course of action.
Look, I can find plenty of trades if I have a look, but they're not standouts as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Should we get to the quiz?
Oh, okay.
John, don't worry, mate. It's a short one today. Does that mean it's one question or 9, or somewhere in between? Car hassle all morning. That's not good. This is where you need a little soundtrack.
New gearbox. Ouch.
Yeah, that is an ouch. It's a big ouch.
Yep.
Are you in, John? Do you need power? Maybe you need power, do you?
Let me have a look at euro dollar while John's coming in. Where's it gone?
Oh, actually, he might be fixing his car.
I made it disappear. Right, let's get rid of that. Key reversal on the weekly and no, that probably doesn't even relate to this pair. Go away.
Oh, there's John there.
Sorry.
Do you know what, mate? I'm absolutely.
Because I've had.
Oh, that's okay. Just like every good quiz master.
Before the quiz, I forgot to answer Jaira's question, and I said I would. My apologies.
Oh yeah, go with that, mate.
Yeah, look. Here's the thing: the 4-hour chart. Jaira's spotted head and shoulders here. It's a little bit convoluted, but I totally see where you are. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. The problem I have with trading this at the moment as a head and shoulders, and therefore, as Jaira suggests, a slingshot trade, which would be what I call T for 3, is the monthly pivot dead ahead, which has yet to be breached this month. So I've really got an issue with trying to go through it. Sorry about that. I would need money in the bank before I did that. So if I were to speculate that this is the third test of that trade line, which it's not, of course, but if I were to speculate that, I've got 47 pips trading into 17, 18. It works. It works. You know how I'd rather trade at gyro, and that would be now off the daily pivot on a much smaller time frame. So if we come down to the daily pivot, we've got a resistance area here, and it would be beautiful to see a break, hit a level of some kind, then sneak back underneath here and retest the confluence area. Then I think you've got a trade on your hands. But at the moment on H4, totally see what you're seeing. But to trade that as a reversal and or head and shoulders, the best way for me to trade that would be to pick the neckline, which is probably in that vicinity, and it's got very, very strong form, as you can see. Let it break the monthly pivot, break this low even, then come back and hit that level. Then I think you've probably got the trade. So if you want to trade it down to here, take some profit off the table and let it go in safe fashion, I think that's perfectly acceptable. The other way would be, as I say, let it all break, get through it all, come back to it, then trade it short. That would be the way I'd go with that. So I hope that helps. Dolly N M1. M1 is showing 3 green soldiers looking for an entry for a long and lower time frames. M1 maybe monthly on Dolly N. We had a look at Dolly N, didn't we? Dolly N, Dolly N, Dolly N. Where's that? There. Okay. Are these your soldiers? Yeah, okay. You are on the monthly chart. Beautiful trade line through there, got to say. Love it. Break, retest. You're looking for an entry on the small, looking for an entry for long and lower time frames. Please have a look. Sure. Well, I did point that out earlier, right? You could trade that bar right there on the daily. That bar. Entry there, stop loss there. Or there if you want to be a little bit more conservative. Going to the smaller time frames. Yeah. Don't see nothing at the moment, mate. You'd have to have some support level here, and there's, in terms of a trade line, there's nothing there at the moment. So that would be a waiting game. If you want to trade the break of resistance, then that's up here, right? It'll be the same as the daily trade. So
I'm just cancelling the long in the FTSE as well. Cancelling the long and flipping to a short as it goes.
So I hope that helps, mate. Look, everything is, I've got to say, everything on Dolly N that I'm looking at does look to be a buy, I've got to say. But
sorry, mate, I'm just taking a trade short in the FTSE.
Yep.
I've just flipped from the long to the shorts. Things have just suggested to me that we might actually get to this level as a take profit level. That means that stops can go above here now. So you can just take a speculative trade just to the downside. It's around about 1-to-1. Yeah, near enough 1-to-1. So I'm just aiming for this daily pivot down here. But I switch positions rather than kind of going long. I'm switching it to the short. Now, obviously, you can leave this run if you believe that there's much more to run in this, but that's just not going to be the way that I will try and play it. I'm just going to try and play it down to this level and get out. Because I'm just trying to use first point of contact. Let me get rid of this. Sorry to cut you off there, mate.
That's okay, mate. I had finished pretty much.
Okay. Anyway, let's get to quiz time. Are you all right, John?
Oh yeah, I've had a real great day.
Oh, sounds like it, mate.
What have you been doing, mate?
I've been busily shelling out money to mechanics because my car doesn't.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, look, I just refuse to buy a new car in Malaysia. If you ever come here, they just cost a fortune. So
right.
I got an older car, new gearbox.
Yeah.
What else? It
What's that? A few grand, is it, for a new gearbox?
Oh well, in comparison, it's a couple of thousand ringgits, which it's, if you convert that to euro, it's next to nothing because labor costs are cheap. So it's just a bit of a hassle. Because we are in, to all intents and purposes, another MCO, we call it here. because we've got a lot of cases of Mr. Coronavirus.
Oh, right.
It's just the way it is. How do I get to share that screen again? Because I can see yours.
You won't. So if you get like hover over the you see where it says stop share. You are. Oh no, you might not have that.
Share.
Do you have that?
I say it says here this will stop another one.
Yes.
Screen sharing. Do I hit the continue button?
Well, when you see new share, so you see on your kind of toolbar, you should see a little button that says new share. I'm gutted we can't play music, you know, absolutely gutted. I keep hearing songs that I really want to play and we can't play them.
But can we play our own?
I think so. Yeah, I think so, because it's not under any sort of publishing. Yeah. So, yes, you could play your own if you want to. Yeah. So you could have a little a quiz theme tune where you start playing the sax. You could do that. I think that would be allowed.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll rev up a tune. I'm being a real Luddite here, and all I can see is this will stop another screen sharing. Do you want to continue?
Okay.
Do I just press continue?
Yeah.
Rock and roll.
As long as we don't get taken out, we should be all right.
Share.
Have a lovely weekend, guys.
Yeah. Bye for now.
That's the one.
So you got an interesting one there, mate.
We got
okay,
video feedback. Now we go.
Yeah.
Ish.
Okay. That makes sense.
Gotcha.
So now then, does this make sense? Okay, that's the first question.
Oh.
Okay. Which famous French astrologer got a mention on Monday's show for predicting the future?
Yep.
And
Was he French?
Apparently so.
I think he was
have
French.
No idea.
I think he was Belgium, French. Actually. Yeah. He might be in Belgium.
I knew him like you, Ash, as a mathematician, but more famous for writing the book. Today's is a little
so if he's Michel de Nostradam, that means Michel of Nostradam. Is Nostradam in France?
Yes.
Oh well, there you go. So we can probably assume that he's French.
Yeah.
There's a few famous ones there. That you know, when I see an uneven head and shoulders,
yeah,
I always refer to it as the Hunchback of Nostradam, right?
Isn't that Notre Dame? Isn't that a different place? It's uneven right across the board.
Okay, that was.
So we have the Bactrian, we have the dromedary, and the Hunchback of Notre Dame pattern. Is that right?
That's the one. Yeah.
There we go. The crypto space has been on a roller coaster ride this week, so it's best to make sure that you're using the correct lingo when chatting to the goat. If you don't know what the goat is, that's shukri. I must admit, I did have to look a couple of these up. So there's 4 points in this question.
Ah, okay. I thought it was a gotcha.
So it's a FOMO, a hodl, a FUD, and a wreck.
Oh, you might get a very bad answer from me on the last two.
Yes, but YouTube is watching you, Jeff.
Yeah. It's Paul's account. It's okay.
Because first, this is what I came up with.
I've never heard. I mean, I've heard that the term FUD is all FUD, but I didn't really know. What it meant.
Nor did I. Yeah, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I think that might. I heard that a long time ago. From another friend. Wrecked. So I think everybody should be. I thought it'd better have a little low key.
I only get. Is this a half?
You get a half. There's a point each for one, but.
Point each. Right.
Yeah. Question number 3. This is a bit, you might have to think about this one. Interest rates are getting a bit twitchy and the inflation rates are on the rise. However, some countries are a little concerned over another trend or rate that has been declining slowly in the background for some time. What is it?
Oh, that's a good one.
It does have an effect, or it will do in the future on. If I say that, you probably get it.
Jeff,
Here's a hint. Jeff will like this one. Jeff actually won't be too worried about it. I don't think.
Okay.
Because it might mean less of something. If I've got that right. I, on the other hand, might be a little bit more concerned about it because definitely they're part of my work, and if they're not around,
Okay, let's have a look at this then. So
I
let's
didn't
read
read
it
the
again.
question.
No, you didn't, because I can see it says getting a bit twitchy and inflation rates are on the rise. However, some countries are a little bit confused over another trend that has been declining slowly in the background for some time. What is it? And you've put inflation.
Yeah, I meant interest.
It is birth rates.
Oh, no, hold on. Oh, God, I haven't even...
Sorry.
I didn't even get a chance to think.
You bugger.
I wouldn't have got that, to be fair, but I do remember that story. I do remember that story of falling birth rates being an issue. Oh, Lexi's here. Lexi, I think Jeff is currently the Actions to Wealth staff team winner at this stage. So yeah, we need to somehow dislodge him from his throne. Falling birth rates, yeah. US birth rate falls 4% to its lowest point ever. Do you know what, John? I have to say, when I read this story, I actually thought this was great. I thought this is what the world actually does need: a little bit less population, if possible, would be quite good. And if it could happen naturally,
yeah.
It's called coronavirus 19 at the moment.
It's the birth rate that's falling, though, isn't it?
The birth rate is falling in those countries, but if you go to others, you think this can't be right.
Right. Not such a good
and you're
picture.
right, John. It won't concern me in the slightest.
I should have picked up that hint that maybe a quiet beer with no kids. Well, Jeff's going to get this question either way. Now, okay. Jeff did mention an interesting term for the restroom, which I've never heard of. But to make it a little bit easier for everybody, Jeff will get it straight away. There's a common name that the Aussies and the Kiwis and the South Africans give the English. Just the English, not the Scots, not the Irish, but the English in general. Yes. I John, yeah. I have been called it quite a lot.
Okay, so the question isn't Jeff's what Jeff called the.
No, it isn't. No, I'm not. I thought no.
Is that right, Jeff? Is it called the long hole?
No.
Oh, it's close. The long hole.
It's close. Well, that's a variant of it. It depends on how you do it.
Variant, yeah.
Yes.
So the question would be: is what the Kiwis and the Aussies and the South Africans, if there's anybody from South Africa what do they call the English?
Yeah. I get that. Elton's John. Yeah, I got that. Could you remind us what that thing is called though, Jeff? It's called the sinkhole.
No, it's called the long drop.
Long drop. Yeah, the long.
I do understand that.
And here's how it works. You've got to dig a very deep hole, right? A very deep hole. In the outback, it's normally used, but also prior to sanitation of any kind, this was very common. So you'd have and the army use it to this day, right? That's how they build their what do they call them?
Latrines.
Do they call them a latrine?
I'm not going to say what we call them. not on there, not on air.
Yeah, thunderboxes. That was another room. That was another word for it. But yeah, you dig a bloody deep hole, and obviously there's a long drop involved, and that's why they call them long drops. Yes.
Yeah, I see.
Anyone having dinner at the moment?
Yeah. All right. So what's the next question?
Okay, the last question is coming up.
Oh, the
next.
last. Okay, it's only 5 today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I just sort out the other one.
That's okay. We'll have a theme. Maybe you could play. Maybe we could have a music round where you play us some theme tunes, and we got to tell you the name of the song.
I could do that one. I do have an anecdote, and Jeff might get this. In my last school, my headmaster was a New Zealander. His best mate was Graham Henry, and we had a lot of. You can imagine we had a lot of Kiwis in there and a lot of Australians, but we never needed to have a sports newspaper in our staff room. Why? We could always tell when the English lost at something in sport because they'd all be in the staff room, and when they'd lost, they wouldn't be in the staff room. So we never used to use a newspaper. Okay, the last one is a Forex question.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry. We are always trading in Forex pairs. There are quite a few combinations. What is the name given, oops, some spelling mistakes there, to the group of currency pairs below?
Oh.
They're not all listed there. They've got a collective name. Jeff's on the money. I'm taking him to the races and the dog track and the card shark table. He's on it. Yes, Lewis is off to. Yeah. Yes, I'm not going to say anything. That's actually made my day. Actually, all the mistakes I've made today. There we are.
The miners.
Okay,
I think should we have a music round? Let's have a music round. You play a tune, and we've got to tell you what it is.
Okay.
Make sure it's famous.
Okay.
Are we allowed to do this, Jeff?
Sorry, are we allowed?
Yeah.
Well, if it's John's music, of course.
No. Well, it can't be his music, otherwise we won't know what it is. I'm just thinking, surely you can play like a. Oh, you're on the flute. There we go.
I'll tell you what, we'll find out, Ash. Happy birthday.
Jeff's got it.
Hold on, you meant to type it, Jeff. You didn't give the rest of us a chance to participate.
Oh, sorry.
All right, give us another one. Right, this is.
Hey.
Nicely done, mate. Thank you very much. So interesting story about Happy Birthday. It was written by two women, I think, as a good morning song in the 1900s. It was good morning to you, kind of the same melody, and they managed to claim it. They managed to claim the song, and they still make. I think their family still make publishing rights out of the song Happy Birthday. It's quite amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't remember the names of the ladies. What's that? Sorry.
They'd be doing okay then with their royalties.
Yeah, and do you know what was really interesting is that they successfully took who was it to court? It was somebody to court. I can't remember. Oh, do you know what? I think it might have been. I think it might have been a crooner. I can't remember which crooner it was, but they successfully took him to court and proved that they'd written the melody for Happy Birthday.
Sinatra's got a version of. Well, everyone's got a version of Happy Birthday, I suppose, but
maybe it was him.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, maybe it was him. Anyway, should we wrap it up, mate? I think it is probably time. Oh, we're about 5 minutes off actually, but so we can have a quick run around the grounds if you like, and then wrap it up. Thank you, John. That was a good quiz.
Yeah,
I quite
thanks,
like
mate.
that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
I think maybe we could have, if we don't get in trouble, let's have the music round every week.
I will pick ones that are what they call royalty free and public domain that people might know.
Oh, that's a great idea, mate. That's a great idea.
Perfect.
Okay.
That way,
More work for you, as
Yeah.
if you haven't got enough. What do I think of WTI? Let's have a look. Let's have a quick look. Thank you, buddy. So thank you to the Quizmaster. We need sort of clapping sounds and stuff like that as well.
They're copyrighted also.
Right, we're getting close to this foot. So I don't know if it's about 5 pips away from taking profit on the FTSE. Let's have a look at WTI. It's XTI on this, isn't it? Under pressure now. I'm not going to profess to be too up to date with the news and driver, but let's have a look at the chart. So obviously the first thing is that that being under the minor trend line is problematic, and it would suggest it drifting down a little bit lower. Now I do watch oil because I'm interested obviously in a few of the oil stocks, BP and Shell, and both of those are actually doing okay today. They're kind of floating around. So a collapse at this stage appears unlikely. Those guys seem to know more than most when it comes down to the major commodity. So it appears unlikely, but it's definitely under some pressure, isn't it? Let's just have a look at this on longer term time frames. I'm pretty sure oil is at a point of resistance that would inevitably cause some issues. Let me just see what. Yeah, we're right on top of it. We're right on top of it, and I'd say this. This is similar to the FTSE. So profit is going to be taken here. Now the question really is, what's going to drive it lower? I'm not sure whether there's anything in the bank now that is unknown that is going to drive it higher. We know the world's opening back up again, but what's going to drive it lower? Because I suspect we probably should be looking for shorting oil. And if I was just looking at it with a price alone, with no fundamentals or anything else, I'd be looking at oil down as low as 44, but to the next stage down at 52. I'll be trying to see whether this could break down. Now this is it a bull flag? No, too long in the tooth for a bull flag, and on the wrong time frame on the monthly. But it's a bit like some of the others. We're kind of like midweek, aren't we? Would we want to make a decision on this just yet? Probably not. I think as we enter into the last week of the month, I'd probably want to look at this in further detail. But it's certainly in a sell zone, and the fact that it is under this particular point here suggests that it's in a primary sell zone on the monthly chart, and it's in a minor sell zone on the daily. So I would be looking for this to break down personally. I'd be looking at shorting oil at this stage on a technical basis, Lewis. In my opinion, that's what the chart's telling me. Any thoughts on that, Jeff?
I haven't even looked at oil for months, mate. I can see on the 4-hourly chart, a big key reversal bar. Yeah, the second last bar of yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
That tends to suggest to me there might be a little bit more upside.
Well, do you know what, mate?
And it's at the bottom of the range, so I'd be looking to range trade that.
Would that not also be a nice entry under this bar?
Let me see what's underneath it. It's bang on the resistance level. No, I don't like that one.
No, you wouldn't do that. Okay.
Well, if you have a look, if you go across you're right on 62, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of weight through there in the middle of that M topping pattern. There's a fair bit of resistance there.
And I suppose that is the thing, isn't it? I mean, when you sort of now you've mentioned that, and I hadn't really looked at that. That is seemingly what we've got as well. So maybe because we're looking at the 4-hour chart, there might be some upside, but that does look like the pattern to me, which means we could coming down looks more likely than going up and too far beyond. I think Jeff's right. I think the fact that we've got that 4-hour chart, that 4-hour bar, would suggest some upside. But it would
It
have to
may not be
create
too far. You know, there's a resistance level just beyond those tails, I suppose, on the closes.
Yeah.
Up in a little bit higher even.
After a bar like this, I would have really ideally wanted to see a morning star, you know, to kind of get a nice feel for oil. That hasn't happened. We could still get a tower bottom, of course, but it's going to need to close at least 50% and beyond into this bar's range before I'll be thinking long on oil. But it's on the trend line. You know, this is the other thing about it, is that if you look at this on the daily first of all, and then bring into the 4 hour, it's right on the top of that trend line.
Yep, that looks good too.
Just there. So let's see what the pivots are suggesting. I suppose the pivots, you know, might play a part on the day by day basis. So with the pivots in play, you probably want to make sure that that oil did break down below here on an intraday basis to see if you could play it down to that monthly pivot, and then see if there's something beyond. But it looks under pressure to me. I think some downside looks more likely.
From Gyra first, but long to go short, maybe for me.
Long to go short, yeah, I get that. From Gyra saying theme throppers. Did I see a SS trade?
That's Gyra's surname.
Sorry, I thought maybe that was his nickname for you. Jeff, I see a slingshot long trade on oil.
What time frame, mate? I'm having a look.
Will it be on the 30?
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there, buddy. Yeah. Don't mind it. Let me have a look at the horizontal level.
Would the weekly pivot be a target?
You've got to get through around about 64.10-ish. That's going to be the biggest problem, because you've got a big horizontal level there as well. But you can take profit before that. Why not? Yeah, I don't mind it. Absolutely. I don't trade oil, so I won't be taking it myself.
He's saying on the monthly.
Monthly?
Yeah. Is it worth grabbing screen?
Sure.
Let me have a good look at it.
So let me go backwards. And what I was seeing was not that 30-minute chart. That trade line, which has had a little bit of a gap, but that's okay. You've got the same old thing, approach, pullback. So there's probably an entry there. You probably have to put your stops under here, though. And you've got to take profit before there. So that makes sense to me. The monthly. I'd like to see that back to there before I trade the monthly, I think. I can see what you're seeing. Couple of issues. The trade line I'd have coming through there. Or so you're seeing that bar, current bar, if it closed there, would be interesting. Yeah, I think I'd rather see it down here to trade it long on the monthly, to be honest. But yeah, 30-minute makes sense to me. Monthly. Yep. Are you talking about the current bar on the monthly, Jora, or are you seeing something I'm not? Are you seeing maybe this trade line that's showing you that bar maybe? Which one were you looking at? Or have you another one? That one. Oh, the current bar. Okay, on here. Right, gotcha. So there, right? Yep, I'd go along with that. I haven't got a problem with that. But again, the best part would be to trade it from here, as always. Trade it from support rather than resistance. And if it did come down there, and maybe that's even worth looking at some stage. This is oil, right?
Yeah. Not your thing, really, is it?
No, but again, I'm seeing that, and I'm seeing this level here. But maybe, as I said, it's maybe a bit higher than that. It's probably even there. So I see that to there, but I don't see beyond that level. Maybe the weekly pivot, and then I'm looking for shorts, I think. So yeah, it's not a favorite of mine, but let me point this out. That's what is clear to me. You can maybe even extend that through to here. So on that basis, you're back into the range. A higher low gets me interested in trading right up to there.
Yeah.
So I think that's the dominant chart pattern for me with oil. And that kind of supports a long for me. But I'd definitely be taking profit here. So I hope that helps in some way. The monthly's still got to form, in my opinion. You've got to get a clearer picture than what we've got at the moment.
Yeah,
so
and also
helps.
I think the market looks probably calm enough today for higher prices, with oil. But I mean, it certainly looks like a longer term move to the downside. But it looks like you might get a better price. Okay, man. Well, let's wrap it up now. I was just going to ask you, John, if everything was good, going well trading wise, and if there was anything that you wanted Jeff and I to have a look at or listen to.
Is my trading going? My trading is going as how I expected it to be 14 months in.
Brilliant.
Not making what is it? Massive.
I think most importantly, are you making good decisions?
Oh, I sometimes make good decisions, and I sometimes make some absolute monsters. But the as you know, artists or musicians and that we're fairly volatile people. We have to be for what it is. So my level of volatility is now under control, because when I used to make the mistakes, I'd be going berserk. But then I've stepped back from it and realized that the people I'm learning from have been doing it longer, and I'm still in the game. I've not blown up my account. So I know that if I keep on going with it, it'll work in the end. If I take some of my own trades, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But I've also realized that if I take other people's trades as well, like yourself and Jess, sometimes they'll work and sometimes they won't. So I'm thinking, okay, it's natural to lose a trade. Even though everybody says you've got to get your psychology right, and I can't stand that term. I've got a degree in psychology. We'd never do that. We would never say that. It's just how you approach it every day. And nobody likes losing. And if anybody says they're used to it, I think they're telling porcupines.
I think, mate, you're absolutely right.
I hate it. Do not like it. It's a bit weird in sport. I never minded losing in sport. I played rugby for the fun of it and a few beers after the game. But I am getting slowly used to the idea that everything doesn't go my way. Yesterday was a great day. Today I'm looking at it and it's looking a bit red.
Right. Yeah.
What's the worst thing? FOMO. I got out early on a wave rider trade, which is going quite well, pound yen, and I'm watching everybody else's account going up like that, and I got out early. A few months ago, I'd have been going ballistic. Now I'm giving it fair enough.
Yeah, which I think you're absolutely right, mate. I was only saying yesterday to Paul about how much I hate losing, and Jeff's the same. It's just I still feel the same as I did the first day that I traded about losing.
Absolutely. Look,
it irritates the hell out of me.
He's FOMO. He's FOLO. If you can get somewhere in the middle, that's a really cool place to be. I'm way over here. I'm FOLO. I hate losing. Absolutely hate it. So I would much rather sit and watch the market go 100 miles an hour in the direction I chose than be in a trade that's going the wrong way. I'd much rather do that. I'm a FOLOer.
I did a short video yesterday. I'll probably edit it and see if anybody wants to. But it's actually on. When they say to do do a review of actions to wealth, and then you put it up and things like that. I think it's quite difficult to do that, and I tried to sum it up in my little video. And I think, how can you say it in a nice way? That
you say it honestly, John. It doesn't have to be nice.
Well, we were down in Johor, and they were doing, they were out front, and they're doing and they're talking to you, Paul and Alexis and things like that. And I thought, I like this. And do you know what that got me to do it? It wasn't slick.
Yeah,
it was real. There were mistakes being made with the slideshows and stuff like that, and giving it, and how they reacted to it. I thought, oh, this is cool. And there were a lot of other people in the room sort of moaning, but I thought, well, this is real. These are real people, and that's carried on like this.
It's really interesting that you say that, because I think, again, I was talking to Paul yesterday, and really what we'd like to be is more slick, because the problem is the truth and the genuine aspect of who we are is there. That we don't lie about things. We try and sort of like lay things as they are, and that's already there. And it means that people like you will be able to see the truth, and they will go, actually, I'm really interested in this. But unfortunately, there are many other people that when things don't go well, they actually think that you don't know what you're doing because something technological has gone wrong, rather than something that is actually part of the subject matter. And it's a shame, because you end up losing those people. So I think the fact that we are genuine won't go, but we would like to get a bit more professional on the presentation sometimes. Because I tell you what, it's really frustrating when you're sort of there and you click a button and you look round and either the wrong words on the screen, or it's the wrong slide, or it hasn't triggered, or whatever else. It's really, really frustrating. And yes, you can handle it,
but from my point of view, I'm sure I don't know. It's how you all react after that, and that's what I concentrate on. I'm giving it, oh, this is cool. Let's sort out all the problems, and that's to me more real life. So great. I mean, for me, it's a buzz sitting in the room with people that have been doing this for longer than I have. Yeah.
Well, mate, Alexis is putting about losing as well, and you're not in your own space there. Not everybody, but most of the traders that I know hate losing. I mean, who likes losing? And as you say, if you say that you don't mind, I don't mind losing a bit. I mean, I don't mind losing.
These Reddit people, they make jokes about it. So I don't know.
Do you know, I don't mind losing in retrospect at the end of the month. I don't mind that I've got losing trades. At that point, no big deal. But at the time, it really does frustrate me, especially if it's human error. That is something that I've missed, and then later on I see it and I'm like, it's that, that I should have covered. So that's where it becomes frustrating. But yeah, I mean, and also it depends how much you got, riding on certain things as well. And there's different aspects of losses in some respects. But generally speaking, are you finding that there is something making the difference? Because I also think that if you can nail the money management, you are 80% of the way to being successful. Nailing the strategy is one thing, and nailing the psychology is another. But if you can nail the money management, i.e., don't over leverage your account and exit at the right time so you can balance up the losing trades to the winners properly, then I think you're 80% of the way there.
I can see how people blow their accounts, and I have got the most I would go is 0.04. I haven't gone into percentages first. I'm just in micro lots. That's as far as I can see. That if you put a big amounts on, and you can make, I can see that you can make a lot of money, because I do watch the markets a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I just watch it because I'm just curious as to what goes on.
Yeah.
But I'm well aware that I need to take my experience as a musician, that this will not happen overnight.
Yeah. No, absolutely
it will not happen overnight. And I do get frustrated when it doesn't go right. But the money management is okay. Some of the trades, I'm a classic for getting in late, staying around, getting smacked about, and it's great.
Timing's tricky. Timing is tricky.
What do you do when something doesn't work, John? Do you go into a post analysis?
I take
is it my problem? Is it the market? Is it what's
screenshots before and afterwards? At first, I would always blame the market. I say it's that fault, not mine. I'll be honest with that. Now, some of the things I do are what I would call dumb and stupid after the event. I can see that I've done it wrong. I'm either in at the wrong bit or in at the wrong bit on the bottom.
That's the most interesting part. How do you address that?
How do I address that?
Yeah.
What would be a good example? One of my favorite ones to watch in the morning is pound Aussie. And a few weeks ago, was it last year? I think last year I put a really bad trade in, and it was at the top, and I thought, it's going down, and I got burned. So I did remember the next time I saw it, and I watched it this time. I watched it. I get down, and I remember the stupid mistake I made the last time, and I didn't put it in. I waited a bit more, and then I went into the market at a low point. I got out. I missed it. It's been on quite a rise. I got a profit and left early. Should have stayed in, but I waited until there was the right entry for me. But some of the it was the right entry for me. I did wait for. Okay, no, don't go in. This is going to be the right entry for me. And then when I'm in the market, if it goes wrong, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I like that right entry for me. That's
if I've gone chasing the market, that's stupid for me. That's stupid. Yeah. If I put the entry in, for me, what is one I'm in? If you want to check it, it's a classic. I've been in it almost a week. It's not going great, but I've almost got it a week, and I'm in on a wave rider sell Aussie Swiss. It's more or less where an entry point. But I put the entry in, and on this particular pair, it's on a 0.01. I'm going to let it play out. This is the worst aspect of my trading, not letting it play out.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wait. It's either going to hit the stop loss, or it's going to make some profit.
That's I'm just looking at it, mate, and there looks like there's nothing wrong with that at all. That looks pretty good to me.
But
I know the bar you've entered. You entered on Tuesday, right?
I entered. Let's see, on the daily, but on go catch about one, including today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars back.
Oh, okay, including say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sell.
Okay.
It's
okay. I do see the bar.
Do you want to show us, man?
Yeah, yeah. Let's have a quick look at it.
So
Aussie.
that's the state of play. I'm in
Um,
0.01.
Swissy, by the way, sorry, the FTSE trade is just I've just taken profit on the FTSE trade, so hopefully everybody managed to take profit on that, and that's closed out. It might go a bit further if that's your strategy, no big deal, but just to let you know for transparency that I have now closed that trade.
Good one.
Thank you, mate. We
It's been
like
a pretty good week, eh?
It's been great, actually, mate. Yeah, it's been a
Hmm.
really solid week this week. Just one day was not so good. It was I think Tuesday was the only day which wasn't so good. But yeah, today, yesterday, and Monday was great. Okay, so I am looking at 6 bars back. This one here, John?
Yes.
Let me put this on here.
That red, yeah, that one there.
Okay. I thought you were on this bar here, which is also a really good entry. You see this one here?
Yeah.
This one, I see why you've entered that. Yeah.
This one I'm using it as a test of patience.
Yeah, I would, mate. I would, and I'd say I think that's a good trade. And you know, I've been writing about the Swissy recently, and I like the Swissy because of the you know, the employment picture in Swissy. Oh, nice break of a triangle here too. The employment picture in Switzerland is good. The trade balance is good. The debt to GDP is good. Business confidence is good. The stock market is under pressure, which is good. And the Aussie is, you know, in some respects the reverse of that. Certainly when it comes down to equity pressure. So the actual trade idea is in Aussie Swiss short makes a lot of sense to me, and I don't know where your targets are going to be, but if this triangle's to play out, then it looks like 0.6774 would be an area that I'd be looking to aim for, probably a little bit higher actually. I probably want this area here. There's certainly profit here as well, but I don't know whether that gives you a decent risk to reward ratio. Probably not, but that one down there at 0.68 hundred, I think looks pretty good. I like it though. I really like that trade. And do you know what I like most about it is the fact that the stop loss is getting close to being above the trend line. It's not there yet. It's going to take a few more days, but it's getting close to being above the trend line as the trend line kind of comes down and the stop loss stays where it is. That's going to get closer there. So you're getting more points of resistance. Now it's got to get through here. It's got to get through here. And if it was a few days away, so, you know, definitely hold on to this, in my opinion. If it's a few days away, then the trend line is going to help out too. So I think there's every chance that if you let this one run by maybe June, I think you would be taking money on this one.
Yeah. It's just, can I sit on it? And yeah, it's what's the word? It escapes me. It'll come back.
Yeah.
But the idea is to stay in this. Now I've learned a little bit more each day.
Yeah. So I suppose the other question is, what mental techniques do you use to make sure that you don't fiddle with this trade?
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, this particular trade that I'm not fiddling with this one.
Yeah.
Is the amount of times I've messed around by moving my stop loss up or taking profits early, just by genuinely just fiddling. And my mental technique for doing it is I go and do. I just go away from the chart. I go every time I feel like doing it, I'll go and do some press ups. Yeah. I'll turn it off and I'll play my flute. I'll do anything but look at it. It's just there. I've got an old TV screen. As soon as I start looking at it, I look at it, I'm giving it, for crying out loud, it's taken for days.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah.
and
Which they do. Do you know what, mate? And this is the interesting thing about people that trade on daily time frames and expect an hourly outcome, is that if you were to look at the volatility of a longer term of a pair, like as an Aussie Swiss, you look at the volatility. The median only really starts pushing out to sorry, the range the range that it moves within, kind of 2, 3, 4% swings, only starts happening when you start looking beyond a couple of weeks.
yes,
So we are expecting these things to move, but they don't. They just don't, because if as I say, if you were to do the data on this, you'd actually recognise that you might well be taking profit on this as late as September.
This is something that you just hit on, that I did realise that I expect it to move quickly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. Now I have got a little setup on my charts for the day, where there's like an hour before the main Asian block starts, then the 2 hour, it's hour afterwards, and then the same window in the afternoon and the same window in the evening. So I can see. So I can tell when when all the volatility is.
Yeah.
And think, well, okay, this is a daily trade. That doesn't make any sense, because you're expecting this volatility all day, and it doesn't. So
no.
And now when I used to get panicky when the things would go against me and what's going on, I now know when it's sort of, you can't predict it all the time, but you can sort of see, all right, it's that time of day again. Let's watch what it does. Yeah, I've got a couple of cold ones in the fridge just in case it gets a bit.
What's a trend?
I'm sorry.
What's a trend? What do I call a trend?
What do you call a trend? Oh,
roadmap to the next range, right?
Yes. Sorry.
And we can sit in those ranges for a long time. I take it you're not in my Euro CAD trade that I took on January 14th, right?
No,
which is still going.
What's that? Like, hindsight's a fantastic song. It's a brilliant opera as well. But I'm learning, and that's for me. It does take time, because I can be stubborn and hard-headed on things, but I can think, okay, Jeff's done that. He's done it for longer, and then okay, Ash is doing this. Well, that looks a bit too fast for me. Like the stock markets, I'm giving it. Well, I just can't predict it because you've done it for longer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite nuanced. I think this is the interesting thing as well, is that when you're trading at 0.04, to actually get your account to move substantially takes a while, and then you couple in the fact that you're trading on longer term timeframes, and that's where frustration starts kicking in, and that's where the mindset has to be, really, I am not going to use this to make a living from. I'm going to use this to pay better than the bank at this stage. It's only when you start to either put more money into an account or trade on shorter term timeframes that you can turn over enough income. I
can't. This can't. I'm in my. This is my trading degree.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing. I'm only 14 months into my trading degree.
Yeah.
I've lost some. I've won some. I'm a little bit down, but I've not blown an account up.
Yeah.
And I'm making progress to understanding it a little bit better.
Yeah, which is key.
I know people that like you guys and everybody else, whether they're making money or not. I've got a little bit better at now. That is nothing to do with me. I've got to try and concentrate on
yes,
from this position to this position. If you start chasing what everybody else is doing, and you're gonna hit yourself and potentially knock yourself out of the game. The best person to interview on this would be my wife. She'll just tell you some real. She just laughs sometimes. She's laughing when it's gone wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're absolutely right, mate. Do you know what? I think it's the worst thing in the world is listening to somebody else and trading off either their successes, which, as you say, you can't corroborate anyway, or their ideas. And just, purely having, that's your mindset, because they've said it, I'm going to sort of like follow through that, regardless, because nobody knows. Nobody on the planet knows what is going to happen from one point to the next when in the markets. All we can do is speculate.
I like the success. I like to see that you're successful at what you do. I really do. For me, then I'm giving it right. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be successful, but I know that there's a chance if I can just sort my what out and keep it together. There is a chance. I wear glasses. I got contact lenses late in my my rugby career. I'd never played like 4th, 5th grade, but I wasn't great. But I did practice certain bits of spinning the ball. And in the end, on my last game, I did score a try from the wing as a substitute. But I finished in there, so I do know that a process can work.
Yes, it does, mate.
It was a bit stupid being a musician playing rugby, to be fair.
Do you know what? And I don't know if I think I might have said this the other day. Did I mention about snooker the other day to you guys?
Yes, the Snooker World Championship was one of the questions, I think.
Oh right, no. Well,
yes.
Really interesting, right? I was watching the Kings or the Gods of Snooker. It's a documentary that's on the BBC at the minute, and it was going through Alex Higgins. Many of you may not know who he is, but he was a wild child of snooker, and he was the one that brought snooker into the modern day.
The Hurricane.
The Hurricane Higgins, yeah. He used to drink a lot. He played fast. He lived fast, but he was really exciting, and he won 2 world championships. And then this guy comes along, Steve Davis. Steve Davis was completely opposite. He practiced all day, didn't drink, didn't party, and what's interesting is that Steve Davis was not more gifted. In fact, Alex Higgins was a lot more gifted than Steve Davis. But the reason that Steve Davis won everything is that he practiced. And when I was watching it, I thought, what this tells me is that anybody can do anything if they're willing to apply themselves. You don't need natural talent to be the best. He's not even the most naturally gifted, but he was the best. He won everything. And it wasn't because of natural gift. It was because of ethic, work ethic, doing it again, making sure that you approach it correctly. And that's when you start going, well, okay, why can't it be me then? Why can't I be somebody that makes a success out of no, I'm not talking about being a snooker player, but whatever industry I choose, why can't it be me? And the only person that can stop me being me is me, because I choose to be lazy, or I choose to be undisciplined, which Alex Higgins again was, because he should have been the best. He should have won everything, but he didn't practice. If he practiced with a natural talent, then you just see, what I would consider almost like an act of God. It's just like you got something from above that has put something in him, and you've got this ethic, which means that he was grinding it out, but he didn't. So the only person really that can stop us achieving really is us, and that's if we choose not to grind it out. And as I say, some people will be good at this naturally, but most of us have to grind it out. And if you're good naturally and you grind it out, you can be really successful. So you're right, mate. You're right. Any of us can make it. Any of us. And why shouldn't it be one of us?
One part ability, 9 parts perspiration.
Exactly. We better wrap it up anyway, because it's now 1:30, and Jeff's probably got to get to bed. I don't know what time it is.
Thank you very much for my private tutorial.
It wasn't very private. It's out potentially in front of millions of people on YouTube.
But some people won't discuss it, will they? No. And if it's useful for people to listen to my ramblings, that's great. Yeah.
I'm sure it is, mate. It absolutely is, because people are on the same road you are, right?
Yeah. Yes, they are. They are. We all are on that road, continuously, and we all need to continue to check ourselves and not get ahead of ourselves. But that's why we are all buddies. You're welcome.
Trading
Lewis.
buddies.
We are all trading buddies.
Hi, Lexi. Thank you. That's lovely to hear.
With that, I am going to wrap it up, mate, and thank you all for the week and being my trading buddies this week. We will be back as always. Same trade time, same trade channel next Monday. Thank you to you guys in the room. Thanks to Angel. Thanks to the guys on YouTube. If you enjoyed the show, please hit the like button. and I will see you next week.
All of what he said, plus bye-bye for now.